Howdy folks, got me working. Howdy gang, Frankie Dave back again on YouTube. This evening YouTube I have an update build report number 1 on Speedy 197's 1960 aircraft, jet aircraft, and simple aircraft on his group build, folks. He caught me right now doing some filing down some overlap seams on the fuselage as they join together, and smooth them out and get them prepared for filler. Okay folks, taking off from the beginning of the update build, this aircraft was built more or less primarily by sub-assemblies. I spent about pretty much of a day working on the cockpit, airbrushing the cockpit, assembling the pilot seats, and also the radar officer have his seat painted as well. And so far the fuselage has been joined together, the horizontal stabilizer has been joined together, the wings have been joined together. That completes the sub-assembly. And gee folks, I haven't built one of these things in years. The last Phantom I built was the Revell 132nd one scale one. It's a pretty good sized aircraft. I got it down below, boxed away somewhere, so I may bring that up as builds of the past when I get to it. I'm going to go through all the boxes bringing these things up for you fellas to look at, guys. So as long as y'all enjoy looking at my builds of the past, I'll keep posting them, you know. And if you get bored with them, say, hey Frankie, you got too much going out there. By the yet, but you great fellas out there seem to be pretty well pleased with what I'm presenting for you to share with you out there. So I'll keep them posted. Wait, I keep looking at them. Okay, guys, getting back to the build of my F4-C Phantom by Monogram. As right now, here's the aircraft as much as I got done on it. I got the fuselage joined together. I got the wings joined together. The wings are 3 sections. You have a center wing section here. And the upper section of the wing, you got 2 outer wing panels. So it makes a total of 3 sections of the wings. The fuselage, of course, you got 2 halves that are joined together. And the cockpit is a tub itself, containing 2 seats, one for the radar officer, one for the pilot. And you got your ejector rings at the top. So the total parts that completes the cockpit in this aircraft, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9 parts. 9 parts complete the cockpit. And so you got 2 pieces. You got 2 pieces on your horizontal stabilizers, folks. They're one piece entirety instead of having it in halves. So you get 2 sections that complete it. So I guess we know those kids don't need to have an upper half and a lower half. So far, right now we'll get to the. I'll show you how much you get done with the painting. Right here, folks, I got the cockpit all painted out. I'll bring it real close I can to this camera. You can take a pretty good look at it. I got the seat belts all installed. You can see the ejector rings, the yellow and red stripes, the yellow and black stripes on there. That's called a curtain fall. Is when the pilot and radar officer ejects this aircraft cases, there's a malfunction of this aircraft. When they do, they grab those rings on top of the head and they pull a curtain over their face, protect their face from the plexiglass and the blast from the ejector seat. Then the pilot will automatically fall from the seat and they'll parachute back to Earth safely. You get a little closer to see it again, folks. You gotta excuse webcam. I did this intentionally at the beginning, so I don't have to worry about firing up that darn the camera because it takes a lot of work to get that thing going on. So anyway, I'll get a little closer view. You can take a look at it. On the instrument panels right here, the kit gives you 2 decals, so it saves a lot of time, folks. Instead of painting the instrument panel gray, as calls for in the instruction sheet, all colors also on the real aircraft, the decal is extra plus, makes life a little easier for you. So far in the view of the construction of this kit, it goes together quite well. It's an old kit. It was released back in 1979, and it's been through its mill of being produced hundreds of times. And there's a lot more better ones out there than this old monogram, folks. But at the time when this kit came out, it was pretty much a must to the modeler himself, and it was a very reasonable kit. Monogram and Rail always had reasonable prices with the kits. I paid $22 on this one, for this kit here, and not too terribly expensive. I kind of like the monogram Revell and also the monogram kits in this caliber 148 scale. They seem to be pretty well reasonably priced, so a lot more cheaper than the Asian brothers out there, I guarantee you that. And they got a nice beautiful one by I think Tamiya, and also Minicraft makes one. It's a jewel of a kit, but it's a jewel of a price to go with it. So far on this kit, as I got together, there's no bad fit issues at all. It goes together quite better than the F100D Super Saber I did on Speedy's last group build he had going on. And so there's just a little bit of a mismatch at the top of the fuselage, so I'll kind of smooth that using my little small file. And I'll go ahead and apply some filler. So fortunately, I don't have to use that much filler on there. There's no filler used on the wing ribs as it's glued to the fuselage sides. So no filler there, and of course the horizontal stabilizers, they move, but they train as a whole unit itself instead of having a separation of the elevator. So the whole elevator moves together as a flap and also as an elevator on a stabilizer assembly on this on the F4 Phantom. The F4 Phantom was pretty much of a mainstay in the United States Navy. It's all the way up from 1960 up to I believe it was 1979, and I guess the F-18 Hornet was its successor. And the Phantom was a very reliable jet, very beautiful jet. He had two General Electric J47 electric motor, turbo motors on it, and they scream when they go by. When I was in Vietnam, they used to have a low-level bomb laid down, drop a napalm on Charlie out there, and we used to, them things scream. Almost like they scream real loud, you can hear them coming. And before you know it, they're up in a vertical position, and they drop those napalm bottles on there like that. Well, you talk about some heat. So anyway, this is going to be painted in the Vietnam version, and I like the Vietnam version. It's back in my era. And my Revell 1/32 scale, I'll dig it up, and I'll present that on Builds of the Past. That's done on the USS Enterprise. Paint schedule on that is nothing but white on the bottom and light gold gray on top. And that's about it. It was a dandy of a kit. And this one here's a dandy of a kit as this as well. The stores they gave the kit looks like they gave you Sparrow rockets and some 2 Jettison auxiliary fuel tanks they can get rid of in case when they go in combat and they're got enough fuel they drop the tanks. And that's about it. So most of the sub-assemblies done in this aircraft. The other small assemblies like landing gear, struts, landing gear doors, and other sundries that go on to complete the model, they'll go on last as I do the build. But as of right now, I'm being prepared for it to have filler applied to it. So I'll get the filler applied to it, let it dry, and give it a good wet sanding, and look at it again, and go ahead and get it a primer of gray, and go from there. Once the airplane's all primed up, I'll start installing the other pieces and get it prepared for painting. Looks like it's going to be a fast build because there ain't that much of the kit in general, and it goes together quite easy. So just the same, you know, I don't like to slap them together. I'll take my time. So you're probably looking at about a good 2 weeks on this one for me. And like I say, in between this build going on, I'll start presenting my builds of the past, and plus I'll go ahead and present the finishing up of my ballistic submarine USS George Washington. I've already applied filler on my George Washington already. I'll sneak in right now while I'm on this video just to save some videos, fellas. So far on George Washington, as you can tell by the stern section where the diving plane's at and the screws at, where it joins to the finished side of the hull, that's been filled with my filler choice, Bondo glaze and putty. and not far by the sonar torpedo room area. That's been filled too. Only on the port side, folks, because the other side, remember, it traces down to reveal the interior parts of the submarine. On top, where the missile bay is located at, where the seam is at, where it joins on top of the non-operable hull, it's filled with glazing plate too, and also on top of the sail, also on this side here, also has been covered. Let it dry, stand it off, and give the model a good prime job, and go ahead and paint it off black with red oxide waterline and draft numbers on it, and also put the decals on it, and do some touch up here and there inside the interior parts, and it completes the George Washington. That's pretty amazing on that George Washington right there, folks. It seemed like to me, you know, it'd be for never build all those parts like that. But like I say, all those parts are all sub-assemblies. Starts out at the torpedo room. You got the attack center. You got the control room. You got the berthing, CPO's berthing, the officers' mess hall berthing. Also the missile room, the nuclear reactor, and the engineering, and the whole kit and caboodle. And there's probably some parts in this kit that was omitted because it was classified. So you got to remember, this model came out when this thing was classified. So evidently they had permission. When Wall produced this model, the only access to so much detail to it. Everything else they couldn't represent on the kit because it was classified. So I'm quite certain a lot of stuff on this model that was left out because of classification problems. But other than that, I should have my George Washington done in about maybe by Monday. I should have it finished. I'll present the finishing results of my George Washington, and I will still keep resuming on Speedy's 197 1960 aircraft group build we got going on, and I'll probably sneak something else out and get something else started. And right now it's snowing outside of my house. I got some snow coming down. It's cold. Roads are getting bad, and so nothing says loving than staying home building a model and letting the snow outside. So I got plenty here to keep me busy until the stuff blows over. But right now it is what it is for this update build report on Speedy's 197's group build of 1960 aircraft. Next YouTube presentation will be it'll be the priming and the preparing for the finish of my F4-C Phantom. And like I said, I probably have about 2 weeks of this, get it all done. So that'll be that. So it's a dandy of a kit. So anybody's got one of these in their stash, you'll like it. The kit is not really very difficult to build. It's pretty quite simple. It's not challenging that, you know, in that degree. But make a long story short, it's a good kit. The novice should have no problem building this thing, and that goes that. So fortunately, I got off pretty lightly on this model right here, so I don't have to worry about using that much filler putty on it. So I got to be very careful. There's some parts on here that's very delicate that can break off, especially the ARI antennae on top of the leading edge of the tail. And I might pose this in a diorama. I have to go down and get me some railroad stuff from the hobby shop and make me a little diorama on there, and that'll be that. Okay, folks, that kind of concludes my update build report number 1 on Speedy 197's group build 1960 aircraft. I got to take a look at the Mad Modeler, old Clint. He finished up his old Dumbo PBY. Clint, you did a very magnificent job on that Dumbo, buddy. Now that darn seascape you made right there brings it in its element as a true flying boat. You need to congratulate it on that group build. Thank you very much for participating in my build. And that P-40, it looks beautiful. You did a good job on that. And Pappy Boynton will be proud. And you're doing a good job there, Clint. And everybody else out there, you guys are doing great jobs too. So before I close up here down, stay tuned for group builds coming up. They got more group builds coming up, though I haven't really got too much on the tube checking people's builds out. So, like I say, you know, they got Robert Gosling. He's got a D-Day build coming up on the 1st of the year, and same thing with Steve. He's got a carrier aircraft coming up on the 1st. So those are going to be some two beautiful looking group builds coming up. Be a lot out there, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see who comes up with what. So stay focused and stay tuned on that. Okay, boys, I've been chatting long enough on here for 15 minutes, but time for old Frankie D to sign off right here. And so stay tuned for tomorrow for another Builds of the Past and another update on my F4-C Phantom. Thank you all out there for tuning in. May God bless, happy modeling, and we'll catch y'all later next YouTube presentation. We'll see you fellas. Bye now.